Alright everyone, I now want to create a wind effect. Now of course you can't see the wind, it's invisible. But what you can do is you can see the effects of the wind on ordinary objects. So the way we're going to create the wind effect is we're going to create a bunch of autumn leaves or fall leaves. So kind of brown, crinkled leaves like the one you see on the screen. And they're going to kind of litter the ground. And then what happens is when the wind blows, it's going to scatter them and make them twist in the air and all kinds of stuff. And the effect looks pretty cool. And it adds a lot of atmosphere to the game. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to catch up to where I am. So I've created a new sprite and I've uploaded the graphics for the leaf. Those aren't available on Scratch. They're available from me. So look underneath the video to find the links to get the materials as usual. And the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that these two leaves are the same size. So you can see the second one's much bigger than the first. So just kind of grab it and then just eyeballing it roughly. Make those about the same size, maybe just a little bit smaller. And then don't forget to center it. Okay, those are roughly the same size. Then for each of them, I want you to duplicate it and select the whole thing and then just hit flip horizontal so it faces the other way. And do that for the other leaf as well. Oops, sorry, I need to duplicate first. Select all, flip horizontal. Okay, so now we've got, as it were, 4 costumes for the leaf. I want you to go to the code, and as always, when I receive, start level, and then we need to do the usual if-then, which checks whether this is the right level for wind. And for the time being, we're going to make the first entry in the weather list wind. And so to finish this condition here, we need to grab an equals. See if you can do it ahead of me. We've done it before. So if something equals wind, if what equals wind? Well, if the item, some item in the enemies list, some items in the weather list. Which item in the weather list? Well, the one that corresponds to the current level. So if we're at level 1, it will be item 1 of the weather list, which is wind. So if we're in the right level for wind, then do your stuff. So what stuff should be done? Well, we can use my blocks to kind of sketch out what we're doing a little bit. So we want to start wind. And that's not defined at the moment, but we know that we want to do it here. So whatever starting wind is, we need to do it here. So once you check that it's the right level for wind, then start off the wind. And okay, well, what will start wind consist of? Well, let's just kind of leave some blocks to map out what we're doing. So we're going to say, well, the first thing we want to do is we want to create the leaves. So again, this is undefined, but we know it's going to come back here. And then the second thing we want to do is, now this is a terrible name, do whatever the leaves do. But for now, it's just a placeholder. And what we'll do later is we'll come in, we'll hit edit, and we'll change the name of it when we figure out what it is that we want to do with it. But that gives us an overview of what we're trying to do here. So when I receive start level, I'm going to start wind. And then when I start the wind, I'm going to create the leaves, and then I'm going to get the leaves to do whatever they do. So let's create the leaves. So to create leaves, I think I'm going to need to clone. So I want to hide the master leaf as always. So that's what we always do when we clone. So hide the master leaf and then control, let's say we'll have 100 leaves and create clone of so. Now if I run this now, everything just disappears, I think. So this will disappear and then nothing. And that's because all the leaves are hidden. Because once you hide the master, all the copies will inherit that characteristic. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to cancel the hide. So remember, this hides the master, and we want to hide the master because then we can just control the clones without having to worry about what the master is doing. So when I start as a clone, we're going to show the clone. Now, if I start this now, I think they're all going to appear, but they're all going to appear in the same place. Yeah, okay. And they all look too big. So let's spread them out a bit. So let's just try go to random position for the moment. I don't think this is going to be the right solution, but it'll do for now. And let's set the size to 40%. Let's just look at that. Okay, so now we've got 100 leaves and they're all over the place. They all look the same, which is not quite what we want. So what we want is we want them all to be on the floor. So rather than set to random position, I'm going to change that slightly. I'm going to go to X is about, I don't know, minus 200 or so. Whoops. And then we'll just set Y is minus 200. And then we'll set the X to random. Y is minus 140. We'll see how it works. And then pick random, minus 220, which is over on the left, to 220, which is over on the right. Stick these back in. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that's good, but I think they're too low. I want them around about the level of the foot of the wizard. So let's make that, if I just move that up to here. Actually, let's just look at the wizard. So he's at Y minus 76. Okay, it's a much bigger number than I thought. Okay, so let's make these minus 75. Too high. Try minus 95. Okay, I kind of like that height, but I want them to be a little bit more higgledy-piggledy. So I'm going to introduce a random, you bet. So it's going to be minus 95 plus minus 10 to 10. And that should just roughen them up a little bit. Okay, that's good. So now I want to pick the costume at random so that we get different costumes. So switch costume to pick random 1 to 4, and the 1 to 4 will refer to their costume numbers down here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's try that. Okay, so we're getting a bit more variation now in the costumes. We'll pick this random 1 to 40%. 1 is going to be too small, 5 to 40%. Okay, that's a bit better still. And I'm going to leave it there for now. We will do some more things in the next video. I'll see you there. Thank you for listening, and if you find this video useful, please hit like and subscribe.